This is Dr. Amarjit Kaur. I am Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at the Department of Management, Gurugram University, Gurugram. I am Dean of Faculty of Commerce and Management, and I am also Director for Gender Studies Center of Excellence. I am fortunate to author 9 books, 56 research papers, and also having work experience of more than 30 years now. I have worked in 2 foreign universities in US. Both were, one was public and another was private university. This is my privilege that I am here with you to talk on employment communication. So we shall be talking about employment communication, which is basically the second part of the talk today. Initially, in the first half, we have talked about what employment communication is, what is employment, what is employability, what are the variables for employability, and all those aspects were discussed previously. And now I am going to take it up further, and I am going to talk about that how to enhance employability as an individual. If you are, and I will discuss this in the context of business communication, employment communication. So, enhancing employability, and we will look from the communication aspect. So, the first thing to enhance your employability is that you should be clear about yourself. Goal setting for employment through self analysis. How do we carry the self analysis? There are many ways to carry a self analysis. What we generally recommend is to carry a SWOT and the Johari window. So, what is SWOT analysis? We all have heard this SWOT many a times. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So, if you are making a self analysis, you should be carrying this SWOT on you, not on a company now. Before you start applying, sit silently and apply this 4 quadrant model on you, and put in the first quadrant strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Write down what are your strengths. Someone may be very good in negotiation, another may be very good in persuasion, third one could be very good in personal communication, another person could be very good in artificial intelligence, fourth person could be very good in code writing. So whatever your strengths are, you are a good team worker, write those things in one quarter. The second quarter, write about the weaknesses you have, and you should be fair with you. What is your weakness? It could be communication itself, it could be lack of focusedness, it could be lack of leadership quality, it could be single player, you are not a team player, like that. So whatever weakness you think you have, you assume yourself. If you have listened to me carefully, we discuss about it, that how do you conceive yourself in employability. So you will be able to do justice to strength and weakness if you are honest in assessing yourself in this analysis. Then write opportunities. What kind of opportunities do you have today? And it's not permanent. The SWOT is not permanent. It is always contextual. Today, the IT sector is grooming, for example, then you may have opportunities in the IT sector. Someday later, education sector is booming, there could be good opportunity in the education sector. After some time, there is a opportunity in, let's say, in machine learning, in marketing. Sometimes there is more opportunity in the area of HR. Sometimes in IT, etc., etc. So, what are the opportunities you have? What kind of job profiles generally opening up today? So, you should write down all that in the opportunities, that you have the opportunity to work in this sector, this industry, that industry, this role, that role, right? These are the opportunities we write. And then the threats, threats from outsiders, like how many more people are there who are almost like you, who are graduates. For example, you are a graduate in computer science. So, how many more computer science graduates are there who are yet to be employed? They are your threats, right? You are going to compete with them somehow, somewhere. So write down all these details, and then you will be having a fair idea about your employability possibilities. Another way to analyze is to carry your Joro window approach, where we see that open window where what you know about yourself and everyone else also knows about yourself. Then there's a blind window where you are blind about any skill set you have, but others are aware of it. Teachers may say, you have this thing great in you, please hone on it, please work on this, you can actually excel in this area. Sometimes at a school level, parents receive feedback from a teacher saying your son, your daughter is very good in music, she can make a great career in this, she is very good in dance, she is good in drawing, she is very good in numbers, etc., etc. Her interest is biology, for example. So that is what you are blind, you are not aware, but someone else, others are aware about that. So that is a blind. Then hidden window. Here you are aware of something, but others are not. You are hiding something, either the skill or the threat or the, it's not only the skill, it could be weakness as well. So that is what is the blind side of it, the hidden side of it. And then unknown sided, neither anyone else nor you are aware of certain skills, certain limitations, and that is the unknown side of you. So apply this Johari window and figure out that generally there are companies, people who are either psychologists or the trainers or the companies who are into employment domain. So they are carrying this Johari window on students, and they would let you know that this is something you are blind about, but we see that thing in you. So that's the blind window, right? Hidden. You should be knowing that what you are hiding from people. That's the hidden side of the Johari window. So you can actually analyze by SWOT, by Johari, or in journal without applying either of these tools, but just thinking about yourself, making a note, writing, just in continuity. And even then you can analyze about the qualities, about the limitation, your strengths and your weakness. Okay, so that was the step 1 in enhancing employability. So here, if you notice, the communication is playing a role. How? If you are able to write well, of course the thinking is and honesty is there, but preparing that Johari window or preparing that SWOT analysis, they both are written communication, right? Somebody else is telling you about your strengths or weaknesses, also involving communication. You are going and seeking mentoring from somebody, unless you speak well, share about your different skills and strengths and weaknesses, etc. Somebody will not be able to give you a report on that. So even that is where the communication is involved. So this is employment communication, in this part, the first thing. So this is the first step to enhance employability, and how the employment communication is playing a role. The second is, you are actually gathering job related information through research. So how can we can find out about job related information? We can find out the information through industry or sector analysis. There are so many sectors to work with, there are so many industries to work with. So a person can carry an analysis that where are the openings. If you go to Naukri.com or any such website or employment news or or job posting in journal, you will find out where are the maximum jobs. There are reports which are telling you that these are the areas which are currently in demand. There are reports which are forecasting that in the next months these kind of jobs will be there, next 5 years these kind of the jobs market will be flourishing. So refer to those reports, those numbers, and you can have a fair idea about different industry, different sector. This is what we call as industry or sector analysis, and this is actually you are trying to gather the details of the job possibilities in different sectors. You can carry a company analysis as well, and of course this would be a written one or orally in your mind, but then you should be able to make some sense out of it. It's recommended to prepare a company analysis in writing. Here, if you are targeting a particular company X, right, that company X has been hiring engineers from a particular belt, engineers from a particular university or a school, engineers from a particular background, engineers with experience or engineers without experience, engineers if with experience that minimum 3 or 5 or 7, whatever the number could be. So what is this? You are carrying a company analysis, right? What is the rejection rate for that company? So if they into 20 people, how many do they hire? What is the salary offered in that company? How much is the job security in that basis on the turnover they carry? So you can gather so much information about a company you are interested in, or if you got an interview call, and then you can also at that stage you also can carry this company analysis. So this is also the part of preparing yourself towards employment and is employment communication. Recruitment process in different companies. You can see what kind of recruitment process a company follows. There are companies which advertise just walk-in interviews. There are companies which will have written test followed by a group discussion followed by API. There are companies which will have technical round, then HR round, and so on. So every company has a different recruitment process. So you can make a list of the companies you are interested in a sector, in an industry, and then you see different processes the company follow. So this is also the part of employment communication, and which helps you to increase your employability chance in a company. So this was a step 2. Now the step 3 is prepare for employment. And here, what is the importance of communication? When you are preparing for employment, of course, your knowledge, your skill, which we all discussed in the previous session, your ability, your aptitude, your attitude, your value system, everything has a role. But how do you comprehend the information gathered in the first 2 steps? One, when you are analyzing industry or sector, and the second, when you were actually gathering information, how good you were in gathering information about employability, employment opportunities in different sectors. How well you collated that information will decide, that how would you excel in the interview or not. So this is actually preparing for employment, revising, brushing up everything related to the technical side of the interview. So if you are a coder, you need to practice a lot about coding. If you are appearing for a marketing job, be thorough with the theories of the marketing, be thorough about the current practices in marketing, current concepts in marketing, be thorough about the marketing practices of the company you are going to appear into for, right? So this is what the preparing for employment. And not only that, be very sure about reading the instructions received from a company about the interview, about the technical session, first round, second round, whatever they may call. There are people who just need, miss to read it properly. So this is what all is concerned about, how you prepare for the employment opportunity. So this is, this is the third step. Then fourth is reaching out to the prospective employer. What are the domains or the mediums to reach out? So you have prepared, you have created your knowledge, you have revised your knowledge, technical skills, you have worked on your abilities, your skills. Though abilities are natural, we understand that, but if you remind yourself and you think of writing those abilities, those skills in your resume by highlighting it, that's what the preparing for employment is. And then you make sure that you put them in the CV or resume when you are reaching out. That's what the preparing was, right? So you have to think, how would you reach out to the prospective employer, means of reaching out, and and the content you will like to share with the prospective employer. So will it be a one-pager CV, a brief, a resume, one-pager resume, or a detailed CV, 5-pager, 10-pager, how many page you want, what all do you want to highlight? And then once you have decided in the preparation part that are you going to mail it, are you going to just post in the against the rolling advertisement, or you will be posting against a particular job profile only, or you will be writing randomly, because I get mails like request for employment or teaching position, which means person is open for assistant, associate, professor or professor, right? So if somebody writes this as a heading in the as a subject in the mail, but somebody says application or request for consideration for a position of professor in marketing, it's a specific thing you are asking or requesting for. It means you are not open for any other area or not a position even. So you have to think, how will you reach out? Will you write a mail? Will you post it? Will you walk in and communicate? Will you request for a meeting? Will you request for an appointment with the concerned HR head and then go and brief? Will you like to request for an interview? Will you apply against and job advertised in a newspaper or on a website? There are so many ways to reach out to employer. Nowadays, the current fashion, the current culture is all green. The green HR practices that the jobs are advertised on social media, be it LinkedIn, be it Facebook or Instagram, and then the prospective employers are applying on those social media sites only. It's a green initiative, green HRM. But how are you reaching out? You are reaching out to the prospective employer through social media, through these social platforms. LinkedIn is the most important platform being used nowadays. And people post there, and people search for job there, and they post their candidature there. The last step is preparing for the recruitment and selection process. One is preparing for employment, where you are working on your skill. Now you are preparing for actual facing the interview, actual facing the test, actual facing the technical round and all that, right? So here again the communication is important. If you are not sure, if the letter you received about the technical round, you are doubtful about the languages they are going to test, Python, Tableau, which language are going, you can write down, you can write a mail or revert or requesting them to clarify. That's what is a step towards the preparing for recruitment. Just one example, of course, right? And what is the selection process? So you need to prepare for the interview, you need to prepare for the group discussion, you need to prepare for technical round, HR round, all those things. It may include reviewing your dress sense, thinking of what you will wear, how would you introduce yourself, that elevator pitch we talk about, right? So this includes all these steps, to ensure that you enhance your employability. Then I'm going to talk about, from employer's perspective. As I said, employment communication is not only from the job seeker's point of view, it is from the job provider's point of view as well. So what all steps does a recruiter, the employer take to recruit people? So there are 4 major steps which a recruiter takes. One is planning, strategy, screening, and then recruiting. So planning for, we will carry a job analysis, and we will put it in the job description that what is required, what kind of job you are going to advertise, you have a vacancy for, you will describe the role of the prospective employees, you will put down everything in detail, be it financials, be it the process itself, so job analysis, job description is there, and then it has been thought as a planning part. It is not actually done, right? Then it has been thought that how will you reach out to candidates. That is also a part of planning. I am going to carry the drive in the month of January or in the month of May when most of the graduates are passing out. Am I going to visit the campus, or am I going to post on a LinkedIn platform? So you have to plan everything of recruitment, right? Describing the job, having the description, job, selection process, etc. Then you have to make a strategy that what works for you. The strategy, involves everything, including the financials, because recruitment is very costly, affair for any company. It's just not that you have been called for an interview. There could be 1,000 applications for a job. There were 10 people who were involved in scrutinizing them. There were 5 people who were there to verify the documents. There were 3 people who are going to interview you. So there are financials involved, time. So many resources are involved. So what is your strategy, as an employer, and how will you communicate that? Because my concern is more about the business communication. So how your company is going to be perceived as a recruiter. So what is your strategy, right? So so this is again is a part of the documents. It's not the practical aspect of it. So strategy is something that how do I want to carry the whole recruitment process. Strategies varies from company to company. It varies from the company's culture, company's vision, what kind of vision they have about the employees. Do they believe in longevity of employee? Do they believe in short duration stay and then to bring it a new pool of people so that there's a new idea, so nowadays this is also true. So this is another HR concept where it is assumed that old people get relaxed. I mean, the people who are there for a longer time, they get relaxed. They get relaxed, and creativity is hampered. The thinking is stagnant. They think in one way only. There's not much approach. So this is one way to look at it. There are companies which believe in agile environment. They believe in bringing in new employees every few days. Moving people from one team to another team. So that agility environment is being created so consciously. So what is your strategy? Because you need to communicate that message either in the advertisement you are going to make, wherever the platform, whatever the platform you are using, but how you are going to be perceived broadly as a part of your recruitment strategy. It should be in your mind, it should be clear, it should be in black and white preferably. Then you screen. So once the job is advertised, the profile is defined, the job description is done, JD is open to the prospective candidates through different platforms, the applications are received. Now the screening is actually is what takes place the next, right? So there are many ways to screen nowadays. So at screening, it could be a simple process, based on the technical skills. It could be just based on the graduation and master's marks. It could be different companies for basis on the different profiles. They do screen. In technology, people screen based on the technical knowledge a person has, the languages which are known to engineers. In many companies, the experience is also been considered as one of the parameters in screening. So education, background, professional exposure and background, a number of experience in the relevant industry, these are the parameters for screening the companies follow. You have to be careful while you are putting up your application, that there should be a great chance of screening. This is how your business communication be ensuring that you increase the chance being screened or being selected during the screening. Lastly, the actual recruitment, so actual recruitment decision making is done through at the time of interview. It has been communicated to the prospective employee through a letter, through a mail. Then details are given that when can you join, all the terms and condition of employment, even that is written communication and the part of employment communication, right? So you are finally recruiting a person, and then once a person joins, you are training them for the job. So these are the 4 steps, and everywhere in all the 4 steps, communication, recruitment communication or employment communication is involved, be it planning stage or strategy stage or screening stage or the recruiting stage. Even during the screening, the results are shared with the prospective employee that you are selected during screening or not. So what is happening? A business communication is happening, and that business communication is precisely the employment communication. That is what we are discussing. So this is how, at different stages employment communication is involved. With this, I would like to wind up now. I hope you could understand what is the importance of employment communication, what all it does pertain. So friends, I would like to sign off. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you.